What is up, guys? Wrestling Premier is here. Alright, if you watched my previous videos, then you know how the state of WWE was in 2006. Mini Attitude Era, it's how I describe it. Like, there was DX returning, Edge was on another level, King Booker was there, ECW, it was a wild year. And yeah, sure, it wasn't great to see some ideas get destroyed like ECW and possibly DX, but it depends on your perspective. Like, you may like DX. Personally, I love DX 2006. They had entertaining storylines with the McMahons and Rated RKO. Alright, enough of that chit-chat. Right now, I am here to cover Backlash 2006. This show, by the looks of it, was pretty good. You had a stacked card. Shawn Michaels and God facing the McMahons. RVD versus Shelton Benjamin in a winner-take-all match. And the triple threat match for the WWE Championship. So, we were in for a treat. Now, before this video starts, let me just say, what kind of content should I make for the month of May? Let's think. We should make some WCW, ECW content. I'm lacking in that department. We need to cover some WCW and ECW storylines. I'm going to go with RVD's ECW World Television reign, which was 2 years. In WCW, I might go with Goldberg's undefeated streak, 173-0. So yeah, basically, month of May, we're looking to make ECW and WCW content. Ring of Honor and TNA and AEW will come later on. I'll try to cover some storylines from those promotions. Anyways, Backlash 2006 was held in the Rupp Arena in Lexington, Kentucky on April 30th, 2006. Obviously, I would have loved to post this yesterday, but it's clear that I couldn't get it done on time. The Rupp Arena had 14,000 in attendance to witness McMahon going crazy. Backlash 2006 had a buy rate of 220,000, which was significantly lower than the Backlash 2005 buy rate of 320,000. The funny part in this is the fact that Judgment Day 2006 had a higher buy rate than Backlash. The theme song for the pay-per-view was Baby Hates Me by Danko Jones. Now on to the show. Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler called the action for this one, and it's a bit weird though that these two called the action, as Joey Styles was the lead commentator for Raw. JR was fired in October and he just made occasional appearances. He didn't get the opportunity to call this one, and I'll get into that later. Alright, the first match was between Carlito and Chris Masters. These two were good buddies initially, but over time, Carlito duped Masters on a few occasions, like the Royal Rumble, New Year's Revolution. Carlito was the face, and Masters was the heel. In the beginning, Carlito was in control, but then Masters had a back body drop. Carlito at one point tried applying the Master Lock, but he failed in his efforts. This didn't stop him though, as he continued to outsmart Masters. The Masterpiece, however, bounced back with a buckle bomb. He continued punishing Carlito using his brute strength. Masters continued wearing down Carlito, hitting reversed elbows, neck breakers, and clotheslines. He sent Carlito into the turnbuckle head first, and then he signaled for the Master Lock. The fans booed, and then Carlito managed to outsmart the Masterpiece once again. He hit a springboard reverse elbow, but he was in pain. He was grabbing his neck. He then grabbed his apple and he threw it in the air, and this distracted Masters as Carlito drop-kicked his knee. Carlito hit a few clotheslines and a dropkick, but that wasn't enough. Masters bounced back by ramming Carlito into the turnbuckle and delivering a clubbing blow. This didn't lead to much, and Carlito hit a moonsault. The Masterpiece then caught Carlito and tried applying the Master Lock, but he tried escaping. Carlito tried moving out of the Master Lock, and in the end, he escaped by sending Chris right into the turnbuckle. He hit the backstabber and he put his feet on the ropes to win the match. Good opener. I liked how Carlito's character didn't change due to the face turn. Like, he was still the same guy he was previously. The only difference here is the fact that he faced heels, not baby faces. Like I said, it was a good opener. It was fun. I think it was the right choice to have this kick off the show. Backstage, Maria discussed the WWE Championship main event when Lita interrupted. She said that she didn't give a damn about what Kentucky thinks about Edge. She embraced the fact that the fans call her a hoe by stating that she's gonna celebrate with Edge after the main event. The next match was between Ric Flair and Umaga. Personally, it's weird seeing Armando cut a promo without the crowd, like, caring about him. They were completely ignoring him. He's like, my name is Armando Alejandro, and they didn't care. They were just waiting for the match to begin. Umaga debuted on the Raw after WrestleMania 22. He ambushed Ric Flair, and he manhandled him. In the beginning, they brawled on the outside, and Umaga didn't even give Flair enough time to take off his rope. The Nature Boy tried using his cheap tactics and experience to knock down Umaga, but it didn't work. Flair did avoid disaster, but it was only delayed. He outsmarted Umaga and he targeted the knee. He tried going for the figure four, but Umaga threw him into the turnbuckle. Flair was in the Tree of Woe position and Umaga hit the flying headbutt. He then ran his butt, I don't know what the hell that's called, into Flair before hitting another flying headbutt. The Samoan Bulldozer then performed the Samoan Spike to win the match. I mean, it wasn't expected to be a match that was going to steal the show. It was supposed to be a way to build up Umaga, and that's exactly what happened. Backstage, the McMahons were discussing their match, and Vince was speaking about God. Shane was like, alright, whatever. Vince took Shane's bottle and he poured it on the floor. Vince stomped on the floor and you get it. Walk on water. He wasn't feeling this. Vince then grabbed a loaf of bread and a fish. He split the bread in half before loads of fishes and bread came from out of nowhere. McMahon said that this is an omen, and all of a sudden, Shane's water turned black. The next match was for the WWE Womens Championship. Mickie James defends the gold against Trish Stratus. I already made a video on this feud. Go check it out. I didn't go in depth to this match though, and this is what I'm going to do right now. Both women heading into this pay-per-view were trying to use mind games to their advantage. They cosplayed as one another, Trish as Mickie and Mickie as Trish. In the end, it was Trish who outsmarted Mickie. But right now, they're all normal, they're all the same. Mickie's Mickie, Trish is Trish. It was a collar and elbow tie-up in the beginning, Trish with the leg trip and the head scissors, and this turned into a fight quickly. Trish was dominating, hitting a clothesline and a drop kick, and she then went for the chick kick, but Mickie ducked. She would however rebound with a brutal kick to the face. Trish hit the Luthez press off the apron, and she unloaded on the women's champ on the turnbuckle before Mickie sent her to the outside. Unfortunately, this was the moment Trish suffered an injury. I believe she dislocated her right shoulder. Once Trish entered the ring, Mickie took control, but not for long as she got herself disqualified. She choked Trish and the ref counted to 5, and that's it. The match was just starting to get interesting. It was starting to get hot, but Trish suffered an injury and they had to switch it up on the fly. Like, they had to call an audible and have the match end early. If Trish didn't get injured, I assume this would have been a great match, and Trish would have won the title back at a future pay-per-view. That's what I believe. Backstage, Maria interviewed Shawn Michaels. He said that God expects him to use his gifts to the best of his abilities, and he asked Vince to call it what it was, a handicap match. And tonight is going to be the same result as WrestleMania. The McMahons are going to be brought down to their knees, and who knows, maybe he'll get the McMahons crying out to God. He said that Lexington and himself got 2 words for them. I think you know what those words were. Should we make a DX97 video before covering 2006? Because I personally think we should go in depth into the entire history of DX. 97, 98, 99, 2006, 2009. We should cover all of it. The next match was winner take all. Shelton Benjamin with the Intercontinental Championship and Rob Van Dam with the Money in the Bank briefcase. Now, we all know this was going to be good. 2 of the most athletic men in WWE at the time going head to head. ECW chants intensified right as the bell rang. Now, in the beginning, it was a basic feeling out process, like, you know, arm drags, clotheslines, takedowns, that kind of stuff. Basic wrestling stuff in the beginning. The match switched gears when Shelton delivered a cheap shot. He grew frustrated with Van Dam's kicks and he decided to take a breather. Once he returned, he delivered vicious blows. But Van Dam once again caught Shelton with a kick and some clotheslines. He had a crossbody on the champ, and all of a sudden, though, Shelton hit a sunset flip powerbomb. This got him a 2 count, and Shelton took control from there on. He started focusing on RVD's back, performing a backbreaker and posting his left knee into the back. He locked Van Dam in the camel clutch, but he managed to reach the rope. He delivered 2 body slams and he locked RVD in the chin lock, continuing to target the back. Van Dam, however, started fighting back, but he walked straight into a Samoan drop. They fought on the top rope, and RVD knocked Shelton down. So RVD was looking to hit a move from the top rope, but all of a sudden, Shelton from out of nowhere jumped onto the ropes and hit a superplex. A perfect vertical leap. He locked RVD in the body scissors for a bit before attempting a dropkick. He failed and Van Dam delivered the educated feat. He made the comeback, hitting a plethora of kicks and clotheslines before connecting finally with the Rolling Thunder. Van Dam then had a split-legged moonsault, but it only got him a 2 count. He then went to the high rent district and he hit the 5-star front. Nope, as Shelton moved out the way. Shelton had a DDT on Van Dam and they were both down. The Intercontinental Champion covered Van Dam, but his foot was on the rope. Shelton brought in the briefcase, but he didn't use it, and instead he performed the crossbody. RVD used Shelton's momentum against him to get a 2 count. And Mr. Money in the Bank performed the Hurricanrana, and Shelton then pushed RVD into the ref. He grabbed the briefcase and he tried using it, but Van Dam ducked and instead threw it at him. Obviously, instinct came into play and he caught it. So Van Dam connected with a Van Terminator. And I love that move. Here, catch, boom. And it's something that could actually happen. Like, if I throw a briefcase at you, aren't you going to catch it? Van Dam then connected with a 5-star to become the new Intercontinental Champion. So, RVD right now is Mr. Money in the Bank and Mr. Intercontinental Champion. I love this one. Sometimes it felt like an action movie, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, it was different from every other match on the card. Both men showed off their athleticism, especially Shelton. He was going crazy with the vertical leaps, and he was holding his balance throughout the match, and it was amazing. The next match was between Kane and The Big Show. As you all know, these two were tag team champions, but once they lost the titles, Kane lost focus and began thinking of May 19th, the release date for his movie. Big Show didn't know what it was about, but since Kane attacked him the previous week, it was an eye for an eye. Because Kane... Now, the reason why Big Show said that it's an eye for an eye is because Kane targeted his eye the previous week on Raw. In the beginning, they went straight at it. Kane delivered rights and Big Show press slammed him. He delivered chops and Kane went for the eye. Big Show, however, targeted the elbow and there were some fans shouting May 19th. The Big Red Machine, however, knocked down Big Show and he delivered a few clotheslines of his own. He started to work the arm of the Giant, but Big Show, however, connected with a hip toss and he hit the fallaway slam. He started to make his comeback, but Kane once again thwarted the attack by targeting the arm. Big Show tried sticking his finger into Kane's eye. But then all of a sudden, the lights dimmed and someone was shouting May 19th on the speakers. Kane was going nuts as the Big Show watched in confusion. He then put his old partner out of his misery by blasting him with a steel chair. Kane sat up with a smile on his face, realizing that these sounds were gone. Okay, let me just mention, May 19th, I'm going to make that Kane video. I hope we could get it done the day of May 19th because it's a must. I've been saving this one since like September or October. All of a sudden, we find Vince and an ill Candice Michelle. Candice asked for Vince to lay a hand on her and try to heal her, and Vince is shouting, "Heal her!" What the hell is this? I don't understand this segment. Heal her! He's shouting and she's yelling, "Ah!" One of the most random segments I've ever seen. Just as Vince was about to do something, Shane appeared and it was time for them to go out there. Like I said, if you've never seen this segment, I don't know what to say. You should go check it out yourself. The next match was between the McMahons and Shawn Michaels and God. The reason why Vince booked this match is because he believed HBK got help from the Lord above in his match at WrestleMania. And from the commentary team's perspective, Vince didn't like the fact that Shawn had a relationship with God. Tan McMahon is one of the craziest characters in wrestling. He was unlike anyone else. The amount of things this guy did, they were insane. Alright, when Vince came out, he introduced God. A few seconds later, Vince demanded that God come out here in WWE style, and at one point, he told God to get jiggy with it. But the funniest part to me was when Vince danced around randomly. The camera was on the stage at one point, and then they cut to an image of Vince dancing around, and I just burst out because it was so ridiculous. Vince then told God to bring it, and he made the match no holds barred. He then praised the name of McMahon when Shawn Michaels interrupted. Once the Heartbreak Kid entered the ring, Vince said that he's going to send both God and HBK straight to hell. HBK had enough and he slapped the hell out of Vince. In the beginning, Michaels was coasting along. He was kicking ass, he hit crossbodies, somersaults, and overall, the McMahons were getting what they wanted. Shane, however, fought back and he tried hitting the pile driver. He failed and HBK set his carcass right onto the steel. Vince then came from out of nowhere and he was knocked down. HBK then slammed Shane's face right into the stage support, and before we knew it, he dived onto Vince to send himself and the genetic jackhammer off the stage. Once Shawn reached the stage, he was met with a Shane McMahon steel chair. The boy wonder went to check on his father, and from there, Michaels was busted open. He received a McMahon assault outside and inside the ring. The product of Vince's semen showed off his brawling skills, delivering rights and lefts, and it wasn't until Shane failed to hit the elbow that HBK tried to make a comeback. He failed and Vince was tagged in. He gave Shawn a lashing and Shane brought in a trash can. Vince blasted Shawn with a trash can and he teased God. He was shouting for God to come back as the fans booed. He announced that God has left the building and he threatened to knock Shawn's teeth down his throat. As Vince attempted to switch in music, Michaels blocked it and instead Vince was on the receiving end of an HBK ass kicking. Shane then accidentally blasted his father with a chair and it was HBK's time to shine. He hit the flying elbow onto Shane O'Mac and he tombed up the band. Boom, switch in music, switch in music. He did the crotch chop as the fans cheered and it was such an amazing sequence. I love the fact that Shawn made his comeback and he knocked their teeth down their throat. I love the fact that they teased the DX reunion once again. The Heartbreak Kid then brought in 2 tables to accommodate the McMahons. We want table chants intensified as Michael set up those 2 tables. He placed both McMahons on the tables and he brought out a ladder. A tall ass ladder. Like, that ladder was huge. He was happy to bring it out, as you can see here. Once Michaels climbed the ladder, he decided to dive on the other side. All of a sudden, we find the Spear Squad on the ground as Michaels was laying on top of them. He tried fighting them, but the numbers came into effect. They put Vince and Shane out of harm's way, and they sent Michaels 10 feet in the air. He landed on a table, and the McMahons won the match. As for the commentary team, JR was clearly irate. Jerry Lawler called Vince the father, Shane the son, and he called the Spear Squad the Holy Spear Squad. Like I said, Tan McMahon was something else. As for the match itself, I enjoyed it. It was a glorified handicap match, and I loved how Michaels showed off some of that attitude he had in 97. It wasn't great, obviously, because it was the McMahons, but it was decent enough for me to enjoy. Also, bonus, I just gotta mention something. This is one of my favorite backstage stories. In an interview with High Spots, Jimmy Wang Yang revealed that Vince didn't realize he wasn't on the roster at the time. Now, Jimmy at this point wasn't on the WWE roster, right? So he decided to visit Backlash. He had backstage access, and he was there to get some tickets to impress a girl. Vince approached him and he asked him to rehearse a spot with Shawn Michaels. So, from trying to get tickets to impress a girl to doing a spot, Michael Hayes informed Vince that Jimmy isn't under a contract, and Vince demanded that he, Jimmy Wang Yang, get signed. And so that's how Akio returned to the WWE. I just had to mention it because it happened on the same night, and it's hilarious. Like, he shouldn't be under contract. You just fired him a year ago. Backstage, Todd Grisham interviewed John Cena. Cena said that tonight, he doesn't have to get pinned to lose the title, and for the past few weeks, he's seen and heard just about everything, from kudos to death threats, and the wrestling community is divided. He then claimed that he's walking right out of Backlash as the champ. At this point, I believe there was rumors that Cena was going to turn heel. Next up, Matt Striker came out to teach the audience of Lexington. He called himself the only intelligent person in Kentucky, and he took a jab at the state by mentioning the illegally recruited basketball players. He then introduced himself to everyone, and the fans booed. Striker then called out one of the smartest men to come out of Kentucky. These are his words, not mine. Eugene. He stated that Eugene is exactly what he's talking about, and this is a perfect reason not to marry your cousin. He wanted to make an example out of Eugene, so he asked for him to spell his name. Striker wanted Eugene to prove him wrong on the fact that people in Kentucky are inbred and illiterate. So Eugene decided, you know what, let's write this. That's what he wrote on the chalkboard. He literally started a "you love poop" chant. Like, how is that possible? Eugene started to pick his nose and he wanted to eat the booger, and Striker demanded that Eugene not eat the booger. Instead, Eugene put the booger on Striker's tongue, and Striker ran into a stunner. This was a bizarre segment if you think about it. Like, Eugene wasn't really on pay-per-view that much, and I believe this was a way to get Eugene on the show since they were in his home state. And the main event, John Cena defends the WWE Championship against Triple H and Edge in a triple threat match. Alright, this one. Let me just say, it is one of my favorite matches from 2006. I loved any combination of these three men in a match, whether it be Triple H versus Edge, John Cena versus Edge, Triple H versus John Cena, it didn't matter. But this time, they were out there at the same time. Edge had momentum from WrestleMania 22, Triple H wanted to get it right, and John Cena wanted to show why he's the champ. Alright, Cena and Triple H went at it in the beginning, while Edge observed this carnage from a distance. This would come back to bite him once Cena and Triple H realized that they've been duped. Edge was brought into the ring and he paid the price. They delivered right, they slammed onto the announce table, and it was at this moment Triple H and Cena became a tag team. Like, they realized maybe we do have good chemistry with one another. Edge's instincts helped him get back into the game. Cena came back and he hit a splash from the top rope, and he tried going for the 5-knuckle shuffle, but Lita pulled the rope from under him. After this, Triple H re-entered the fray. He delivered a facebuster and a clothesline to get a near fall. The game also connected with a spinebuster, but it got him a 2 count. Edge fought back and he ran into a sleeper. He then locked Triple H in a sleeper of his own before Cena entered the ring once again. He tried hitting a double FU, but Edge got off and hit a spear. The rated R superstar in the game brawled on the outside, and Edge managed to catapult the game straight into the ring post. It was at this moment things went crazy. Edge returned the favor and he slammed Triple H on the announce table before connecting with the Impaler DDT on the table. Meanwhile, Edge hit a missile dropkick on Cena, but it got him a near fall. The Rated R superstar was on top of Cena, delivering clubbing blows, and he speared Cena in the corner. He tried going for the execution, but Cena countered it into the STFU. That thing was locked in tight. It took Triple H holding Edge's hand and blasting Cena with the mic to break the hold. Crimson Mask could barely walk, and he did blast Edge to send him into the front row, but in the ring, Cena managed to lock him in the STFU. Triple H was fading and fading and fading, but he managed to make it to the rope. Cena then measured the game for the FU, but he countered it into the pedigree. But the champ evaded this, and he once again locked Triple H in the hold. This time, though, it was Edge who saved the game. Cena and the Rated R superstar went back and forth, and Cena bumped into the ref. Triple H performed the electric chair to slam both men down to the mat. The crowd was loving this, and all of a sudden, Lita entered the ring with a chair. She was looking to blast Triple H with it, but once she approached the game, he hit a brutal spinebuster. Like, I cringed the moment he hit the spinebuster because that could have ended badly, as you could see. Triple H was careful though, and he managed to rotate Lita away from the chair. Just as he was about to use the chair as a weapon, he decided otherwise. Triple H brought out the sledgehammer, but it wasn't used as Edge from out of nowhere hit the spear. Edge himself grabbed the sledgehammer, but he failed to use it too, and he ran into an FU. Just as Cena was about to hit the FU, Triple H low blowed him, and he attempted the pedigree. Cena, however, countered it into a roll-up to retain his title. The champ didn't have much time to celebrate, though, as the sore loser went berserk. He blasted the official. He blasted Cena. He blasted Edge with the sledgehammer. He did the crotch chop, and it was awesome. Triple H ended the pay-per-view on top, but he wasn't victorious. Overall, my favorite matchup of the night. They were firing on all cylinders, and this has definitely got to be in my top 5 triple threat matches. There was never a dull moment. The fans were into it, and the best part was when Triple H did the DX sign. They loved it, and so did I. Now, about the pay-per-view itself, it was decent to good. I did enjoy the McMahon HBK match, although I understand if you don't. It was easy to get behind Michaels because it was basically a handicap match, and they were bullies. RVD and Shelton were awesome, and it's unfortunate we never got to see a sequel on pay-per-view. As for the undercard, it was weak. Carlito and Masters was decent, but Trish and Mickey never got going. Big Show and Kane was kind of bad. If it wasn't for Big Show and Kane and the Mickey and Trish things going bad, then this pay-per-view would be remembered well. Nonetheless, it was decent to good, like I said. Bonus. It's not much, but I have to mention this because I don't think I'll ever get the chance to cover this promo on another video. The next night on Raw, Joey Styles delivered a worked shoot about WWE. He was fed up about it, and I'll quote something from the shoot. It was one of the best promos of 2006. Well, you know what? I am sick of sports entertainment. I am sick of male cheerleaders. I am sick of boogers and bathroom humor and semen. And I am sick of our chairman who likes to talk about his own semen. He mocks God. And makes out with the divas, all to feed his own insatiable ego. I am sick of sports entertainment, and most of all, I am sick of you fans who actually buy into that crap. This sports entertainment circus. I've never needed this job, and I don't want this job anymore. I quit. Now, the reason why Styles cut this promo is because the Spear Squad threatened to make him wear a cheerleader outfit if he didn't call Kenny's match with enthusiasm. And then Jerry Lawler made fun of him, and he struck Lawler due to this. The main event went on as planned with Todd Grisham replacing Styles, and JR returned to commentary the following week. I don't think we can make a separate video about this, so I decided to cover it here because it happened the next night. So yeah, that's it for this video. Make sure you hit an FU on the like button and perhaps a pedigree on the subscribe button. Peace, I'm out.